Hello, my name is Benjamin Morse, and I'm from the Center for Academic Innovation at the University of Michigan, and welcome back to this teach out on self driving cars. I'm here today with Nand Kochhar, who is the Vice President of Automotive and Transportation Industry at Siemens Digital Industries Software. Welcome, Nand.
Thank you, Benjamin. It's really nice to be here.
So, we've been hearing a lot about electrification within the automotive industry alongside the ongoing development of connected and automated vehicles. But a question that I think many of our learners will have is why is everybody talking about electric cars right now? And how does that impact the development of electric, connected, and automated vehicles or self driving cars?
Sure, great question. The automotive and transportation industry has been going through a what's called transportation revolution. We have had a very similar thing for the last 100 plus years, great progress, but now it's going the autonomy, electrification, shared mobility, and connected vehicles are some of the trends which the industry is going through. Why is it going through? That's your question. Well, there's a lot of stuff going on behind societal trends to consumer trends to fit those societal trends and things like sustainability and green initiatives. Those are the trends which are driving what's called the industry trends. So because industry wants to satisfy those trends. And you touched on electrification. Electrification is just one piece of it. And within that, electric cars is one of the key elements which is feeding towards those trends, whether they're coming from consumers or they're coming from sustainability, having supporting around the globe. So that's why everyone is talking about electric cars. Now, if you are an automotive OEM, original equipment manufacturer, your business model is changing because once you
Mm-hmm.
see that trend and you see all the announcements around that 10 years from now by 2030, what percentage of vehicles will be electric versus diesel or petrol based, that causes you a big havoc in your product development processes because you want to be ready, because you want to be a viable business 10 years from now, 20 years from now, and 100 years from now. So that's why everyone is talking about electrification, electric cars, and of course the other trend of autonomous, converting that into a ADAS feature or autonomous vehicles. That's driving all these discussions.
And certainly, the industry players that you just mentioned face significant barriers along this journey toward full adoption. What are these barriers to scaling electric, especially from a testing and validation perspective?
Yeah, as we said, it's a transportation revolution. Now you can imagine we've perfected, I should say, the industry has perfected vehicle development processes over the years. And there's always room for improvement, and they continue to progress that. The fundamental shift is happening is a analogy would be you have an engine, and engine is fueled by petrol or diesel, right? Your source of energy has changed. That source of energy has become batteries. So you'll see what are the things causing. Next step. Now you have to have an e-powertrain to take that energy, which is coming from that source. The second big chunk could be how you're shifting that power to the wheels. So all the concepts of now there's electric motors, there's inverters, there's converters. So all of the componentry has changed in an electric vehicle setup. And then, of course, you have to take all that and package that in a vehicle. And that all environment has changed because now you have a high voltage stuff running within the car, and you got a lot more electrical and electronics. And to my surprise and everyone else's surprise is the amount of software which is going in these cars. These cars are becoming like computers on the wheel. So software is a big component on top of electrical electronics. So now you can see how things have changed or shifting from pure mechanical parts, pulling them together, some electronics to a major change. To come back to your question, what are the barriers? Barriers are there in each one of these categories. So, battery technology, for example, um, people want a maximum range out of those driving those vehicles. So there's a evolution going on in the batteries itself, but at the same time, there's a lot of new innovations going into the battery technologies. Same thing, the barriers become the skilled labor. You might not think about it, but now you need software engineers. All of the people coming out of school have a total different skill set versus what the traditional electrical mechanical engineers have done. Um, in order for it to completely go the way we want it to go in 10 years or 20 years from now, the entire charging infrastructure is a good example. Today, over the last 100 years, we have developed gas stations at every corner. You're not going to need as many as compared to what you need the charging infrastructure. So you can see all these barriers when we start working on both from a technology standpoint as well as execution standpoint will help clear those barriers and make this a reality of electrification.
Certainly a lot of complexities to consider. Thanks for walking us through that system. I think many of us are really excited about the opportunities and potential benefits for self driving cars that they may have within our communities and our lives. What are you particularly excited about in this space, and what developments are currently underway that may speed up innovation, testing, or adoption?
Right. So, again, one of the things you touched on is the self-driving cars. So the exciting developments from a technology standpoint are happening in parallel to all those trends. So you've got for electrification itself, or electric cars, and then you've got developments going on in the ADAS features or fully autonomous cars. Thing what's most exciting is the human machine interface and making ease of use for the consumer. So there's numerous benefits. You touched on autonomous. If you look at that, it's a total freedom. It's redefining the mobility. Its
Mhm.
ability to go from point A to point B without worrying about all of the other conditions, the driving conditions and the parking conditions, and sending kids home. So, depending on the application of autonomous vehicles, you could see several benefits, which include, um, in the ideal case, it'll be even safer than the current human drivers because now it is being operated under those tight conditions.
Excellent. Well, thank you, Nan, for speaking with us today.
Thank you, Benjamin. It's an honor and a pleasure to speak with you guys.
And thank you for our learners for joining this segment. We look forward to continuing the conversation as we move forward.